Welcome everybody to the Watchlist right here in the Latiners Network, ready to talk about all the shows and films that get released on streaming. And of course, at the end of the show, we'll let you know what's coming out next week so you can create your very own watch list. You're going to need a lot of paper, a lot of pen because it's a big one next week, a huge week of releases. So we'll get to that momentarily. But as far as this week's recommendations, of course, I'm not alone here. I'm joined by my co-host, live from Houston, Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, brother? Whose
Hey brother, what's going on, man?
fantasy football life is hanging on by a very thin thread this week as it's do or
Very
die
thin.
for either one of
Ah,
us today. So looking forward to that. No expectations. I expect my team to do what it always does. So I'll leave it at that. Chewy knows what he's talking what I'm
cha,
talking about.
lose.
Um, that being said, here, not a big week this week, but a couple documentaries, a couple shows here and there. One show I found kind of late in the game, just started watching. But we'll talk about a show that ended. Well, I guess it ends this week, technically speaking. If you have ANC Plus, it ended last week, and that's Interview with a Vampire. The, of course, Anne Rice reboot or reimagining or whatever you want to call it. But obviously based off of books, which of course was a movie back in the '90s.
Yeah, remake.
Little
Mm.
vampire, I guess it's a story about vampire. What he got turned into a vampire by this one vampire. They fall in love or whatever the case is, and it's a tumultuous
Stop.
relationship between them. And there's I don't know 100 years later, whatever how much time has passed. He's being interviewed by the second time
Hmm.
by a reporter, kind of taking account of his story. Because the first time he interviewed him, things didn't go well. I guess for whatever reason. Um, so yeah, Chewy, this one ended. What do you think, Chewy? Because this is one we liked how it started. Did it end one for you?
No, I liked.
It was seven. It was
Was it
seven. Yeah,
seven episodes
yeah.
or eight? I think it was seven. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, so I
Neither
wasn't
did I.
expecting it to end at seven. I wasn't paying attention, but no, this is a very very good show. Another must watch from AMC Plus, and obviously they put out limited quantity, but the quality that they put out is outstanding. And this was a very very good drama. I don't remember seeing the movie. I remember bits and pieces, but it's such a long time ago. But overall, I mean, I think it was well written. I think it had a nice twist versus the movie and how that was. And obviously, you can develop the characters so much more, infinitely more in a TV setting than you can in a 2.5 hour movie. And so you can go into depth and really develop the characters the way they should be properly developed and understand them. And overall, I think it ended in a nice. I don't know if it was a cliffhanger, but that
Right.
final
Yeah.
reveal maybe kind of lend itself to a little bit of a cliffhanger because obviously I hadn't read the book, so I didn't know that was coming. And
Right.
I don't want to spoil it about any of it for people who haven't seen I read the book or the movie, but the Lestat character didn't quite perish the way we had envisioned either. We'll see what happens going forward with that. But like I said, I'm looking forward to season two. It's already been greenlit for season two, and definitely
Yeah,
put it on your
definitely.
must watch
Yeah, I'm
list.
glad it's season two because I enjoyed this one. It's really good and a lot more graphic than I initially had thought. Um,
Mm, especially that last episode. I mean, it went all
yeah,
out,
yeah,
balls to
absolutely.
the
And it's
wall,
like it doesn't
literally.
pull any punches, which I like. Given the subject matter, vampires, they don't kind of teeter around it. They kind of just show you the graphic nature of what they do, right? When
Mm,
they kill people, that's great. But yeah, you're right. This one is. I remember the film, and there's some similarities, but there's definitely a lot of differences between them. I don't know what's more book accurate. That doesn't matter at this point. But yeah, dude, I'm digging it, man. It's really good, and there's a couple things I remember. Even the character review at the end, I do remember his character in the film. Introduced. Yeah, yeah. I
oh,
don't.
do you?
Well,
Okay, I
I
had
don't
no
want to say
idea
it, but
that there
yeah,
was
he's
that
his
part.
character in the film. Whatever the case, they end up meeting down the road. So no, but it was very good, man. Very well done. It's well produced, graphic, very interesting. So this is actually one I highly recommend. Again, AMC Plus. You're right. Little quantity, a lot of quality, and they have another show dropping, which we'll talk about towards the end of the show. But yeah, definitely, yeah, check this one out if you're a fan of the original film or not. This is the one that you guys should check out for sure. This week, we'll start with a couple of documentaries. No, I don't think any movies came out this week, at least none of interest anyway. So documentaries, and there's just stuff no one cares about, but a few select, and that's fine. So for you select, we got a couple for you. The first one being FIFA Uncovered on Netflix. This one here, of course, is documenting, of course, the corruption and investigation behind FIFA, of course, and the shenanigans behind the scenes, and I guess unearthed after the announcement
Shenanigans.
of Qatar's, them getting the 2000 this year's World Cup, obviously. So it comes at an appropriate time because the World Cup starts in what, in a week, two 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Right, so around
Yeah,
the corner, so
around
it's kind of
Thanksgiving.
perfect to kind of get you, warmed up, I guess, in a sort of way. But yeah, it's True. Your thoughts on this one? I know you're a big soccer fan, and I'm sure we're all well aware of the situations behind FIFA that during that time.
Yeah, yeah. No, like I said, if you're a fan of soccer, I
Football.
think you
Thank you
will
very
enjoy
much.
this one. I think they take a deep
Football.
dive. What was that? Oh, sorry. My bad.
Come on now.
My apologies to American brethren out there. USA, USA. No, I think you'll find it very interesting. They take a really deep dive, and they start from the early onset of when all started, right back in the mid 70s, I believe, and how it just kind of perpetrated throughout the decades and through the leadership. Obviously, the main leader, Sepp Blatter, who was there for about 40 years, and it's kind of funny. He tries to wash his hands, right? Where yes, I was the leader, but it's not my fault. I'm like, "Oh, come on, he wasn't involved. Come on, really, with a straight face, you're gonna get away with that crap, please." But obviously, this was whispered for many years, and you kind of knew there was payments going on, and in all fairness, and when especially pre globalization, these type of deals were pretty routine, making payments to officials to garner contracts or garner favors and to get selected. And so when you apply that to the sports world, it's more the same, right? You want to host a Super Bowl, okay? Well, who's going to put up more cash, right? Let's not believe we live in glass houses. College recruiting, hey, you want a car, you want some money, come to my school, come to Alabama. I'm just saying, so it happens everywhere. So this is not unique, okay? So everyone get off the soapbox, please. But to the extent of the money that was being exchanged to secure rights for TV rights and to line their pockets and obviously to award countries, they might have been done with the right intentions, right? You can put that bail on it, but you were still getting paid anyway. So just because it was the right decision doesn't mean, they weren't profiting from it. But very interesting. Short 24 episodes. So it really gets
Mhm.
into the meat and potatoes of the story and into the main players and not characters, but actual people involved in all this and the various
Yeah, it's
confederations.
good.
So very, very
I
good. I
mean, yeah,
like
and
it.
obviously, listen, this is FIFA obviously governs soccer, the world's most popular sports, $1 billion industry, what do you want to call it? So there are billions of
More than a
dollars,
billion dollars.
right? It's the biggest, yeah.
Yeah,
In the World Cup,
you're
forget about it. The
shortchanging
amount of money that comes into a certain country, it's ridiculous. So yeah, of course. Come on, now there's always gonna be something, be shenanigans behind the scenes, back attitudes. It happens. To think not is ridiculous, right? Yeah, because that's just how it works. In many big businesses, there's always some sort of corruption at the top. It's just how it is. But it's very interesting, particularly as a soccer fan. Understand. It does show you like the beginnings of FIFA and how that came to be and where they are as established themselves as the leaders as far as the soccer
it.
organization is concerned. But yeah, very good,
Mhm.
interesting. Yeah, well done. 4 episodes, and it was just appropriate timing with the World Cup around the corner. If you got soccer
Yeah.
fans, football fans, sorry, whatever, definitely check this one out. The other one again on Netflix, that's Ancient Apocalypse. This was a 30-minute episode. It's about I think 8 total. Um, more, well, I haven't finished it, but
Well, I
I'm
haven't
I'm not
finished
sure
it
how many.
yet.
But
I've
either
only
way,
gone
so yeah,
through two. Yeah.
basically I forgot the name of the journalist, but he was it's controversial because he investigated a lot of these findings and discovered that there were these cultures that were actually a lot older than most scientists will agree it was. Again, a couple thousand years before, most scientists agree was the beginning of the civilization, right?
Probably
Yeah,
more so, right? I mean, he kind of again
he's
he
not an
prefaces it. He's
archaeologist;
not a
he's just a
scientist,
journalist.
right? So, yeah, he's just a journalist, kind of through observation, through discussions, through talking to other experts, right, and trying to
Mm-hmm.
piece this together. And he makes a pretty good case based on just the visual evidence and as far as the potential, right? Nothing's
Oh,
going to be
of course.
proven unless you have hard facts or video evidence at this point. Uh, but he makes a pretty good case of the evidence that's out there, and to lay out that there was maybe potentially a much older culture around before what we know, and he kind of goes to all these different countries and kind of lays out what he's found just through his digging and interviewing and just using his journalistic skills to try to see or try to make the case, right, to try to convince the scientific community that this is a possibility. It's a
Right.
legit, it's a reasonable and
Exactly.
legit
Yeah. Yeah.
possibility,
Civilization is
right?
thousands of years before
Um,
we thought civilization even existed. Fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think this is going back to
Mhm.
the last
Yeah.
ice age where there was an advanced civilization of some kind, right? Or the mention of one, right? I mean, after watching a couple of first episodes, I started thinking about Atlantis, right, and that myth,
Mhm.
right, as far as some great calamity, again, ancient acropolis, and obviously spreading that knowledge through the world, and you see the the similarities in some of the things, right? And that's been talked about for a long time, right? But it's always been more myth and legend than actual scientific fact or theory. But it makes the case, man. I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is something you probably don't know about and haven't heard or read about anywhere. Like when he goes into Mexico and
Mhm.
he goes to that great big pyramid that they uncovered, but you start digging deeper and you start seeing all the pyramids underneath the big one, right? So it made the case that okay, these civilizations came in afterwards and built on top of each other, right? Um, Something like that I've seen in other documentaries. Not this one, maybe they touch on it, but with the whole Sphinx and the age of the Sphinx, right? And where that's a theory that's been put out there that the underlying structure is much older than what is on top, right? And so there's a couple of guys that are kind of working through and trying to make the case that just they haven't gained scientific acceptance, but there's theories out there about that. So in a similar fashion, this is the case that he puts out there about some potential much older, much more advanced
Yeah, it's well done.
civilization.
It's very interesting. I mean, it's not for everybody. If you're into
Mhm.
that kind of thing, ancient history and our archaeology stuff like that, it's very cool. It's very fascinating, and the stuff that he digs up. Yeah, you're right. It's like he's making a good case that he's not saying he's right or wrong. Just presenting. He's a journalist, right? This is his ideas, and this is what's being uncovered, and this is a
Yeah,
possibility of what this may mean, right?
he's making the case that there should be more
Exactly.
investigation
Yeah.
into this theory, right? He's built up a big case, okay. What I enjoyed more, he's going to these locations that you don't
Of
you
course.
don't hear about. You know about the major places, you know about the Pyramid of Giza and the Aztecs and Incas, but he's going to these cities and places where it's not really it's there. It's not talked about. It's not popular. But he's kind of peeling back the onion to these other places, like when he went to
Yeah.
Malaya, was
First
it
thing, the first one.
Indonesia,
Yeah.
I believe, right? In that very first episode. Yeah, and about that structure that was there, and that was scientists say it was just natural, and no, it's not natural. This was a temple of some kind, much older than thought. But he kind of and also makes the case because his theory that this happened in the last ice age, so he paints a picture of what the world looked like during that time. This wasn't an island. This was a great nation because the water levels were so much lower. It's like, okay, you start putting piecing together, it starts making sense, right? Instead of you don't look at how it is now, you look at how it was then, and then trying to put
Yeah,
the
very well.
puzzle
This
pieces
one I've
together.
been enjoying this one. It's very short, 30-minute episodes. So
Mm.
before it can be
Yeah,
kind of
this is
dryish
short. Yeah.
material, but it doesn't allow itself to get too dry because it ends right, which is good, and he moves on to the next location, all that. So this is one I recommend. It's very cool. I actually enjoyed this
Mm.
one a lot. Shows wise, to stay with Netflix, 'cause it's almost always Netflix. Warrior Nun, season 2, a show that I was whatever. I could take it or leave it. I wasn't a huge
You
fan
didn't
of it. I
like
didn't
season
dislike it.
one.
I
Let's be
ended up
honest. You
seeing the
didn't
whole
like
thing. I
season one.
forgot about
Yeah.
it, to be honest with you. It's been a couple years. It's been a while. A lot of these shows are coming out because
Yeah.
COVID and all that, so I get it. Yeah, so this one, basically, it's kind of a fantasy-esque story, religious undertones. That we got this, I guess, a young girl who was dying or was a paraplegic or whatever the case is. Yeah,
She was paralyzed. She was not, but she was paralyzed through an accident. And they gave her
yeah, which
the
belonged to
the the
an
halo.
angel, in the
But
past, which endows her with powers to
yeah,
fight against the demons and the forces of evil, etc., etc. Yeah, and this is organization of
of the
nuns,
world. Yeah.
who train for the fight, the inevitable fight that's coming down. Um, yeah, season 1 I wasn't a huge fan. Season 2, it's gotten better. I gotta admit. I think one of the biggest complaints I was thinking about with the show, 'cause I forgot about it, was just the pacing was off. The action wasn't good. The action here seems a little better done, more visceral. But in the first episodes, the scene towards the end, which is pretty graphic. I was like, okay,
Oh, that fight
now
scene is
now we're
yeah.
talking, right? This is
Wow.
exactly what I wanted to see in the first season. So we're getting more of that. Some stuff's a little ridiculous at times, I think, but nonetheless, I'm kind of enjoying it now. I think I'm halfway through, if I'm not mistaken. Enjoying it enough to where I
Okay.
can, okay, I'll deal with it because it seems better produced. It seems like it's getting to the heart of it quicker. The first one just took too much time to get going. When it got going, you know,
Well, I mean, the first season, I mean, it was all. I think you can look back to the first season. It was all
right.
complete setup the whole season, right? Because we didn't get introduced to the villain
That's what I'm
until
saying.
literally the last
It took
episode.
too long to get where we need to
Uh,
get to, and here now we're
yeah,
kicking off, and so
yeah.
it's better pace. Yeah,
We'll kick it out a couple months later, but yeah, we know who the
right.
players are,
And
and
I'm
okay, let's
enjoying what
go.
they're giving. It's like I said, it's still not great. It's like I said, I'll take it or leave it. They tell me it's canceled. Okay, fine. I'm not gonna cry about it, but it's entertaining enough. If this sounds like your bag, I'm enjoying it. I gotta admit, I'm enjoying it. So, Chewy, your thoughts?
No, no, yeah, I had to go back and rewatch a couple things
Yeah, it's
because
been a
it's
while.
been so long I completely forgot, and I had to read up on kind of catch up on season one. But no, man, I'm enjoying it, man. It's not bad. It's not a bad show. It's a lot better now that you know what's going on, and so obviously you got the a very limited sect of the Warrior Nun because there was an event that happened in this season that kind of
Mm-hmm.
decreases their numbers. Let's say we've got the Pope, right, and the Vatican. We've got an angel who we thought was an angel, and it's not
Or
really an
something
angel;
like
he's a
that.
demon.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
so
Well, I
yeah,
guess he is. He is.
no, no,
People
no.
thought he was an angel. Yeah, yeah.
He pretended
That's
to
true.
be
Yeah.
because he was running away from
Mm-hmm.
these other folks that he stole the actual Halo ring from, right? And so that now that's explained, and obviously, and we start bringing in a little bit more of some of the religious artifacts into this season, right? Such as
Oh, the thorn. Yeah, the
the
thorn.
crown
Yeah.
of thorns, right? The one that Jesus was given
Yeah, and they
as he
give a
was
good
crucified by
mythology
the
as why he
Romans,
was given. I don't want to
and
spoil it, but
so
why he's what
yes,
there's an
yeah.
actual power behind that thorn
Mm-hmm.
headpiece or whatever. Yeah, which is interesting.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was like, okay. So adding a little
Mm-hmm.
context, a little twist, and a little bit of I don't know, call it make believe history if you want, but it's still interesting because it's related
Yeah.
to religious history and whatnot,
Yeah, I
and
think
so yeah, I'm enjoying it,
it's
man.
not a
So
bad
far, I'm only
watch. I
two or
mean, yeah,
three
if
in.
you're into it sounds like you're kind of bagged. Like it's very fantasy esque driven,
Mhm.
special effects, all that good stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, angels and demons
yeah,
and religion,
yeah. Like I said,
yeah,
I did
it's all
season
in
one.
there
If you
mixing.
plot through it, but season two is better for whatever that's worth. Apple
Mm.
Plus, which we always like to hear. Apple Plus, Circuit Breakers, this anthology series, kind of all takes place in same middle school, I guess high school, whatever, revolving around kids and dealing with a certain issue, along with the assistance of technology, right? The technology leading to something that they're trying to accomplish or an issue they're trying to overcome, whatever the case is, right? All individual
Mm.
stories. There's no real connection that I've seen thus far. Anthologies, you know how I feel about it. It's always a mixed bag. You get some good, you get some bad, and whatever. You get a lot of meh. Um, Chewy, your thoughts on this one before I get jump in?
Man, I mean,
Yeah, they're like
these are like
26 minutes. They're
less than 30
short. I think
minutes. These are
7:30,
really
if I'm not
short.
mistaken. And I've seen four.
Yeah, really short. Maybe too short for what the story or more story they're trying to tell. Um, but because like the first episode kind of ended so abruptly, I'm like, wait, what happened? He laid this out like at the end. I'm like, oh come on, man, really? So that's my only complaint. They're okay. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not terrible, but they all revolve around the junior high kids and stuff. And it's not Black Mirror. It's not Love, Death, and Robots. It's just one of these, kind of family friendly, sci-fi twist stories. And you want something to watch, put it on. But do you
Yeah,
have to watch?
and
Not really. You can probably skip it.
same thing. I'm kind of right in the middle. I mean, this is I guess a twilight zone for kids, right? If I would say that because it is for kids, right?
Yeah, pretty
And that's
much.
fine. But I was almost out after that first episode because it was you're right. It was just like okay, wait, what? There's a lesson learned. Right? It's a kid show. There's always a lesson behind something. Right? You got to learn something, but they really get to like in one sentence, like wait, well, hold on a second. Then how do we get there? And then it ends. I was like, that's odd because it's
Mm.
interesting premise. The second one improved on that more, right? As far as the kid, he was doing
Mhm.
something, if he realized his mistake and whatever, which is right. That's what you want to see in a kid show, right? And it had a nice little kind of twist in the end, little ambiguities like, well,
Hmm.
was that what I thought? Which is cool. I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, overall it's fine. Whatever. I mean, it's 20 some minutes long. If you got kids, it could be interesting to watch. Because the incorporation, the technology is pretty cool, and this one is like an old tale, like this principle when a kid switch body or switch minds in the bodies, and that kind of deal, which is kind of entertaining.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not up to Apple Plus standards as far as I'm concerned. You know, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
it's
I've
not a
seen
bad
better.
watch.
Yeah.
But again, there's so much going on. Yeah, if you have kids, then I probably recommend it just because there's some interesting stuff in there. As a family watch, it's very clean. The kids
Hmm.
are the stars here, and it's
Yeah.
very Disney-esque. Am I wrong there? In terms of the presentation, I feel like it should have been on Disney Plus.
No,
Yeah,
no, 100%. I mean, some of the Apple Plus
yeah.
kid shows are very Disney-esque, and I think there was one that we tried to watch, and there's like it was just too kid for me, and I jumped off. It was, I can't remember, I can't. It was so bad for me, I can't remember the name of it, but it was on Apple Plus.
Oh, I know what you're
Like
talking
I
about. I forgot
skipped.
the name, but
Like
yes,
they put
yeah, I
out,
forgot the name, but
yeah, you know what? Yeah, that bad. I can't remember the name of it, but they put out a lot of kids shows in this vein that are popular with families, and so
yeah.
be it.
But
It's just
if
not
you're
my
a
cup of
family,
tea.
then if you're into that Disney-esque kind of shows, then take a
Mhm.
gander. You might find it interesting. But at the end of the day, it
Yeah.
was kind of disappointing. The last one here, we didn't have to mention this. I kind of found this late in
Mhm.
the game. Was mentioned earlier, and that's an Amazon Prime released a show called The English. I don't know, Chewy, if you had noticed that or seen it. Yeah, it came out
It came out
on
already?
Friday, and I forgot, and I heard someone talking about. It. I was like, oh,
Ah,
yeah, so let
crap.
me check this
I didn't
out.
even see it.
It stars Emily Blunt, who's great. I love Emily Blunt. It's a western, right? I dig a good western. You don't get many of them. Apple
Mhm.
Plus released the last one that I really liked, but that dirty black bag, what it was called, something like that. But this one, yeah, this one,
Mhm.
Emily
Mhm.
Blunt. She's across the pond, makes her way down to Wyoming area around the Great Plains back in the 1890s, seeking revenge. Someone that killed their son. She's out there trying to figure out who it was or find this person, whatever, and she runs across an Indian, Native American, say the correct terminology, who they end up saving each other's lives, make a connection. He's kind of helping her out, kind of find her way in a very dangerous territory, that part of the time of the country. The interesting is that the Native American, he was actually part of the U.S. Army, who had recently retired or left,
Mhm.
who was chasing down other Native American tribes and all that. So it's kind of interesting, and there's reasons why he did that, right? He's kind of like you know, he's seen as a kind of Uncle Tom kind of thing because he's an Indian going after the Indians at the time, right? So the army was there for during that time. So it's interesting dynamic there, the good relationship. And I gotta say, man, I was really impressed by this one, man. I didn't expect much out of it, and I was like, man, it's just pretty good, man. It really is, and I like a good western. That the tension that's built in some of these scenes, like, oh man, it's really kind of like you kind of you think of westerns, before the gunfight and the tumbleweed and the little music, all that is that kind of tension
Mhm.
without the cheesiness of that
And
stuff.
then the high noon
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have that
duel.
cheesiness behind it, right? But that kind of tension, that setup is there. At times, you're like, oh, this is actually a very good show, very interesting, man. Chewy, I guess I didn't know if you even heard about it or not. Obviously,
I heard about it. I guess I must have put the wrong date on my list because
yeah.
I didn't know it was coming out this week. So I completely and I'm watching Peripheral and I didn't even see it on my new. They always tend to show new stuff.
Yeah, I
I
know
didn't
because I
see it
saw it
on the list
somewhere,
either.
and then I was
So
like, okay, that's okay. I like Emily Blunt. If you put, she's a big name, an
mhm.
A plus talent. Put it behind it. Okay, let me see what's up, right? It's good,
Mhm.
man. I recommend it again. It's a very light, big start to this week, so it could
It's
probably
good.
give you time to catch it. It's only 6 episodes. I think it's a limited series, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's
Oh,
limited, but it's
okay.
only six
Okay.
episodes. They've all dropped on Amazon. This is if you're into that kind of Western kind of style thing. This is really well done. I'm actually really enjoying this one. It's actually pretty good. I think I'm three in. I'll probably catch a couple sometime today. It's Sunday's my catch up day, so why not, right? Get ready for the onslaught that's coming. But yeah, good recommend on that one. So Chewy, check that out if you get
Hmm.
a chance. I think you'll like that. I think you'll definitely like it. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, because this week it's just you have a few days to really soak in all your shows because there's a lot dropping. I think this is maybe the biggest week we've had in terms of shows dropping. It's probably I'm thinking because
In a long
when the
time.
holiday
Yeah.
and Thanksgiving, it's probably not a lot dropping. I always suspect that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay,
No,
well,
there's a lot
I
dropping
sit
next week
corrected
also,
then.
dude.
Okay, I just am releasing so much. Okay, fair enough. Okay,
These
well,
next 2 weeks
I'm
are jam
off
packed with
next two
shows.
Fridays, so and I'm excited. I got a free Saturday coming up, so I'll probably get a chance to see a lot of this stuff. So, because yeah, it's big. So let's get to it. Starting today's the only show that releases early. That's one today, on Paramount Plus. That's The Tulsa King, starring the great Sylvester Stallone here. I like the trailers. I guess he's an ex mafia, whatever, and he's got a released from prison after 20 some years, and the boss sends him away to I think somewhere in Oklahoma, and he starts his own little crew, if you will. So it looks very interesting. I'm curious to see. I'm probably watch that. It drops. Is it today or tomorrow? I'm sorry. Today. Yeah, today. So I'll probably catch that.
Today. It
It
might
might
be
be on
already
that
out.
Paramount Plus.
It might
I'm
be
gonna
already
check
up
that
on
out
Paramount.
shortly.
So
One we're very excited about on the 17th. Everything's on the 17th to the 18th. So there's on Thursday. So like I said, it's a real busy end of the week. Gangs of London. Um, BBC show season two on
season
NC
two.
Plus. I love the first season. NC Plus, such a great show, great direction, great action. This is when yes, is a gangster. In modern times, of course, everybody vying for the main guy, the head of the family. Main family died, and everyone's kind of vying, positioning themselves to take control of the area and all that stuff like that. Cool show. I like this a lot, so I'm very excited about this one. And how you know about this one, Chewy, coming out the same day? Netflix Dead to Me season 3, the final season. Final season.
Final
I was
season.
I
Yes,
this is one I
sir.
didn't forget about, but I just wondering when's the next season dropping because it's been a while. And yeah, surprise show
There
when
it
it
is.
came out. Christina
Mm-hmm.
Applegate stars in this one. She's like a widow, and then her husband died in a car accident, and she befriends someone, and they kind of discover what really happened to her husband. And it's actually very interesting. Yeah, it's pretty funny, very dark comedy. This one's good. I can't wait for that. I didn't know it was coming out this week, so I'm kind of excited about
Mm-hmm.
that. Same day, Netflix, Pepsi. Where's my jet? Documentary. What's this one?
Mm-hmm.
What's this one exactly?
Docu series. Yeah.
You know what this was about?
Yeah. So this is a contest that they had a while back ago that they promised a jet to the winner. And I'm not sure. It's one of these. You remember back in the day where Zuzu did a commercial where you could buy one for like a
Oh,
thousand
right.
clams or something. It was something ridiculous, right? And the guy literally brought 1,000 clams in his car and went to court for that. So so now you see in the commercials disclaimers now
That's funny. Yeah.
because of this incident. And so this is one where there was some contest. They promised a jet, and whatever the contest was, the winner did exactly what they said, and they didn't obviously
Okay,
pony
so that seems
up.
interesting. Yeah, it's not about
So
Pepsi.
yeah,
At first,
they're
I was
very
like,
interesting. No, it's not about that. No,
right,
it's a
and I
Pepsi
saw the title.
contest,
I'm
but
like,
it's
why don't
not
you say a
about the
documentary about
drink.
Pepsi? Who cares? But okay, so this is a little bit different than what I imagined. But that's on Netflix. It always has good documentaries, and then which we talked about today
Netflix.
are just in line with the
Hmm.
quality of documentaries they dish out every so often. Same day on Hulu, The Fleischman is in Trouble, based off a book apparently. Jesse Eisenberg's in this, Claire Danes.
Correct.
Story because
Mm-hmm.
Eisenberg's character is a 40 something. He just recently divorced and trying to get his life back together. And I guess his ex wife one day drops off the kids and disappears. So he's trying to put the pieces together, what happened, and dealing with the kids now back in his life full time, and dealing with his own single life. So looks
Mm-hmm.
interesting. FX/Hulu, I guess, right? It's really an FX show, but I think it's on Hulu in the same day, the
Correct.
17th. So that looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Same day. Jesus, man, this is a fucking terrible Thursday. Um, this is one I'm sure you're very excited about, and that's 1899. Um, why are you so excited
Oh,
about this one,
hell
Chewy?
yes. From the makers
Yes, thank you.
of Dark, uh, the makers, producers, writers of Dark. And so we've been waiting for this for a while for their follow up show, the next potential hit. And so let's
Yeah,
see if this is it. This takes place on a cruise ship, obviously in 1899, crossing the ocean. And so obviously it's layered. There's very little information as far as I didn't watch the trailer because I saw from the makers of
fair
Dark. I'm
enough.
like, okay, that's all I need to know. But layered in with different characters and mystery, and so
Yeah,
I'm just
Dark was
excited.
a
I mean, really
fantastic
excited to
show, a
check this
German
out and
show,
see
time travel, so well done.
time
And
travel. Man, what that was
yeah, it's
an
one of the best shows
amazing,
that's seen on
amazing
Netflix.
three
Yeah, if you guys
season
into time travel,
time
check
travel
out
show.
Dark. It's
Hmm.
fantastic. But yeah, this is the follow up, same creators. And yeah, to add the piggyback off that is to that the cruise ship and then the ocean, but they find another vessel, which is empty. It's just floating in the
Hmm.
ocean and discover a lot of mystery what's inside that vessel, whatever the case is. So a lot of mystery elements to it. Looks interesting. I'm itching to see this one for sure. Um, And then HBO Max that evening after you watch a couple episodes, 18.99, switch over. Little family fun, little A Christmas Story Christmas. Of course, the long-awaited sequel to A Christmas Story, Fragile, and
Long
all the goodness
awaited.
that it brings. I absolutely love Christmas Story.
When did that movie
I was in the
originally come
I
out?
think it's in the 70s.
The original Christmas Story?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah. The movie
Was
takes
it?
is based off of
Okay.
it back in its 50s, 60s, but it yeah, right.
Well, it
It
takes
was in the
place in the
70s, right?
50s, but it came out in the 70s. And so now we're here, our
40 some years later.
40,
Yeah, finally
almost
giving
50
us
years
a
later.
sequel, and then the main
Yeah.
character, the
Okay.
kid in the original film, now he's grown up and he's trying to give his kids a good Christmas, and he goes back home, and all that. So the trailer didn't look great, but I mean, whatever. It's nostalgia porn. I mean, I gotta watch it because I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
And,
That's all
yeah, and
it
I
is.
think some of the same
That's all
kids,
it is.
the triple dog Darius kids and all that with the pole, they're back
Yep. Yep.
reprising
He's
their
in
role.
there.
So
Yep.
it's just pure nostalgia. Maybe it's good. I don't know. It's HBO, so I have some hope for it. Doesn't mean it's going to be good, but that one looks very interesting. And then we got a couple things on the 18th of Friday. The first one is Spirited. Speaking of Christmas movies, of course, Ryan Reynolds and
There you
yeah,
go.
well, Will
Time for the
Ferrell.
holidays. Will Ferrell, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
it's
looking
just kind of a
forward to
Christmas Carol-esque musical take on it. I haven't heard good things though. I gotta be
Yes,
honest with you.
correct.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things. But that's an
Oh,
Apple Plus.
really?
I mean,
Oh,
for whatever that's
man.
worth, doesn't mean everything. But yeah, Farrell, Reynolds, that should be gold as far as I'm concerned. But who
Should be
knows?
comedy
But yeah,
gold,
when
man.
that comes on the 18th, I'll definitely watch that one. A show I don't watch, but you do. That's Elite, right? Netflix on the 18th. Season 5 or 6.
Season
Yeah, so
5, season
hold on. If you're
6.
not
I lost
watching right
track how
now,
many
you're probably
seasons.
not going to watch it, so I won't spend too much time on it.
Yeah, no worries. It's Spanish. It's one of these
Right,
Spanish
exactly. So, but that's
teen
if you are a
dramas.
fan of it, it is coming out this Friday. Well, high school, well, whatever.
Not teen,
Well,
sorry,
it's still
high school,
teens.
right?
It's
Because
still
these
teens.
kids are
High
much
school
older.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
unless the teens are held
Well,
back.
okay, yeah. But some of the stuff, there's some of the stuff that goes on, like
Different
Jesus
times,
Christ,
brother.
man.
Different times. It's like
Not
Jesus.
safe for work, but good Lord.
Spanish. Spanish shows. They're a little more liberal with their stuff. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know, man.
Two more
That's true.
things that
That's very true.
Chewy did fail to mention to me, but I was aware of, and I told Chewy he missed a couple of things. So there's a couple of things that he missed when he sent me his list. It was
Oh,
a lot, but I mean,
well,
it
it's
is
too
what it
much
is.
already.
And one is Inside Job, an animated show, which I really was a fan of on Netflix, which I really liked.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's why I
I
left
liked
it off the
Inside Job,
list.
man. I just found it funny. It was really cool. So that comes out on the 18th, and then another film starring Aquaman, Jason Momoa himself. Chewy's
That
Slumberland
comes
comes out
out
on
this
Friday.
week,
Yeah,
Slumberland. Damn, man,
yeah, that
that
was like a
one I wanted to see, man. I put
fantasy-esque
on the wrong date. All
story,
right.
based off a book. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
and I really wish now, I regret now, if I had known that so much stuff was coming out this week, because Netflix did send me a copy of it last week, and I wanted to watch it. I just got the dates wrong because I get it for a day, where I have a day to watch it, and after that, they take it away.
Mm,
So and I was like, and now, at that
okay.
time I was like, whatever, but I want to get an early review, but knowing all these things are coming out, there would have been one thing off the plate, right? I'm like, damn it. So I missed it. I haven't heard much about it, to be honest with you, but it looks cool. It's like a fantasy, it's a fantasy, right? This kid enters his, yeah. It looks interesting. It
Complete
looks kind of fun,
fantasy
a good
show,
family
yes.
film, whatever. So a lot of movies coming out. So, which I like the movies because it's a one-time watch. I'm not watching 4 or 5 episodes. It's easy to kind of go through the movies as opposed to some of the shows. And, right.
As
It's
that
like I
is
said, a
supposed to
feature,
watch
but
this week too.
it's
Like, yeah. Plus everything else we're watching,
right, right. So it's a
right throughout the week. So
packed that's 11 shows and movies being released. That's as big as we've seen in a long time. So yeah, luckily, like I said, I have some
mm.
extra time this week. It came at the right time, so call it fate, call it whatever. So I was celebrating tonight's fantasy football victory, put on Tulsa King, and then
Man,
prepare
not so
myself for the week
fast.
that's coming.
Not
That's all I'm gonna say
so
about that.
fast.
But I'm sure we'll talk about
Just
that
saying.
next week. So that being said, big week. So we try to get as much of all these shows coming out, let you know if there's someone that worth it or not. Of course, Chewy, a pleasure as always. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe, like, check us out. Good recommendations. Want to know what to watch? This is what we're here for. And we'll see you guys next Sunday.